If you are in your 50s, 60s, have you ever felt your knees a little stiff when you wake up in the morning? Do you feel like your knee joints make a crackling sound when you sit down and stand up? Or are there days when you just go to the market for a bit, but your legs are so tired that you have to sit and rest for a long time to feel better? If you are nodding, then you are not alone. Many people at this age are also silently facing arthritis, dry joints, or degeneration. And if you or a loved one is experiencing it, don't hesitate to leave a comment below so we can share and support each other to overcome it. Because there is one thing that not many people pay attention to. It's not because of age, nor is it necessarily because of the weather. But sometimes, it's because of the type of vegetables you still eat every day. Sounds strange, right? But science has proven some vegetables that are good for young people are not suitable for the bones and joints of the elderly. They can cause inflammation, mineral imbalance, and make your joints ache and swell even when you are not doing anything strenuous. But don't worry, because there are other vegetables that are easy to find and easy to prepare that can help you reduce pain, reduce inflammation, and increase endurance and energy significantly after just a few weeks of regular eating. So which 3 vegetables should you stay away from to protect your joints? And which 3 vegetables should you eat more often to feel more flexible, lighter, and healthier every day? The answer will surprise you. Let's discover it right away. I'm Dr. Evan Bonehart, a healthcare specialist for the elderly focusing on bones, joints, and muscles. Welcome to Bones Health Seniors, a channel where we share knowledge, experience, and practical advice to help you better care for your elderly loved ones. Let's start with one that surprises a lot of people: tomatoes. Now I know tomatoes are a kitchen staple. You've probably got them in your salad, your sauce, maybe even your sandwich. And they do have some health benefits like vitamin C and antioxidants. But for many people over 60, especially those with joint issues, tomatoes can actually make things worse. Why? Because tomatoes are part of a plant group called nightshades, and nightshades contain a compound called solanine. Solanine is a natural defense chemical that helps protect plants from bugs. But in your body, it can act as an irritant, especially to your gut and your joints. For some folks, especially those who already deal with inflammation or arthritis, solanine can trigger flare-ups, joint swelling, stiffness, even pain in the fingers, knees, or hips. And the tricky thing is, it doesn't affect everyone the same way. Some people eat tomatoes every day and feel fine. Others cut them out for a few weeks and suddenly notice their morning stiffness disappears. Now, if you love tomatoes and you're not feeling any joint issues, you don't have to panic. But if you're someone who deals with inflammation, it's worth trying a short tomato vacation, just to see how your body responds. You can always reintroduce them later, gently and mindfully. So, if we're taking a step back from tomatoes, what's a better option? Try incorporating more beets into your meals. Beets are rich in nitrates, natural compounds that help improve blood flow and reduce inflammation. They support the tiny capillaries around your joints, which means better circulation, less stiffness, and more natural movement. Beets also contain betalains, which are powerful antioxidants known to ease joint pain and support detoxification. And beets don't have to be boring. You can roast them with a little olive oil and rosemary. Blend them into a smoothie with berries and Greek yogurt. Or even spiralize them into noodles for a beautiful, colorful side dish. Beets are the kind of vegetable that gives back. You eat them and you feel the difference. Lighter legs, more energy, a clearer head. And if you've been feeling sluggish lately, they're one of the best natural boosters you can add to your routine. Now let's talk about another surprising vegetable that might be messing with your joints: eggplant. Eggplant, like tomatoes, is another nightshade, and it also contains solanine. But it has an extra twist. Eggplant has a slightly rubbery skin and a spongy flesh, which means it absorbs cooking oils really easily. So when you fry it or sauté it in oil, it can become a greasy, inflammatory mess without you even realizing. The combination of solanine, excess oil, and the way eggplant is usually prepared makes it one of the worst vegetables for people with joint pain, especially seniors. I'm not saying eggplant is evil. But if your knees have been aching more than usual or your hands swell after certain meals, take a look at whether eggplant might be playing a role. I had a man named Carl, he's 70, still mows his own lawn, who used to eat baba ganoush every week. Loved it. But his hips were always sore afterward. One day he skipped it for 2 weeks, and the difference was night and day. He said, "I didn't know food could do that." And you know what? Most people don't. Now, what can you eat instead that still feels hearty and satisfying? Try adding more dark leafy greens like Swiss chard or bok choy. These greens are anti-inflammatory superheroes. They're rich in calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K, nutrients your joints and bones desperately need as you age. Unlike nightshades, they don't irritate your gut or joints. In fact, they help reduce swelling, ease tension in the muscles, and support smoother movement. I love sautéing Swiss chard with garlic and olive oil. It's simple, delicious, and gentle on the body. And bok choy? Try it steamed or chopped into a soup. It's crunchy, hydrating, and full of joint-soothing compounds that work from the inside out. Now, before we move on, I want you to take a minute and check in with yourself. Does any of this sound familiar? Have you noticed certain meals that leave you feeling achy or bloated? Or have you ever tried cutting back on tomatoes or eggplant and seen a change in your body? If so, share your experience in the comments. I'd love to know. You're not alone. And the more we share, the more we learn from each other. Because now that we've talked about tomatoes and eggplant and better options like beets and leafy greens, we're starting to connect the dots between what's on our plates and how our bodies actually feel. But there's still one more sneaky vegetable we need to talk about. One that shows up in so-called healthy diets but might be quietly draining your energy and leaving your joints stiff. You know, sometimes the foods that make us feel the worst are the ones we've been told for years are the healthiest. That's what makes it so confusing, right? We're doing what the magazines and doctors told us. We're adding more vegetables, making salads, eating what we think is clean and wholesome. Yet somehow we're still stiff, still sore, still waking up with swollen knees or aching hands. And that brings us to the third sneaky vegetable you might want to avoid if you care about your joints and energy. It's one that shows up a lot in health-focused recipes, especially for weight loss and detox diets. It's in green smoothies, soups, and even casseroles. I'm talking about raw kale. Yes, kale. The poster child for health food. Now, don't get me wrong, kale can be a good thing. It has fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. But here's the catch. Raw kale, especially when eaten often, can actually backfire for some people, especially those of us over 60. Kale belongs to a family of vegetables called cruciferous vegetables. And raw cruciferous vegetables, like kale, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts, contain natural compounds called goitrogens. These goitrogens can interfere with thyroid function, especially when eaten raw and in large amounts. And your thyroid? That tiny little gland in your neck controls your metabolism, your energy, and how well your body recovers. So if your thyroid isn't working optimally, and let's face it, for many older adults, it's already a little sluggish, then eating a ton of raw kale can make it worse. You may start feeling tired, foggy, bloated. Your joints may get stiff. Your hands might feel colder. You may gain weight more easily or lose energy faster. There's another issue with kale. It's very high in oxalates, which are natural compounds that can bind to calcium in the body and form crystals. These crystals can accumulate in the joints and kidneys, contributing to inflammation and even stones. That's right, too much raw kale could literally be crystallizing inside your joints and making them more painful. One woman I know, her name's Denise, she's 72, started having smoothies every morning with raw kale and spinach. She thought she was doing everything right. But a few months in, her knees felt worse, not better. Her energy was dipping and she had brain fog by 10 a.m. Her doctor ran some labs and found her thyroid numbers were off. She scaled back the raw kale, cooked her greens instead, and swapped in some gentler vegetables. Within weeks, she felt more like herself again. The truth is, your body changes as you age. What worked in your 40s might not work in your 60s or 70s. And eating more isn't always better. Sometimes it's about eating smarter. So what's a better alternative to raw kale? Something that still gives you greens, fiber, and nutrients, but without the joint pain, energy dips, or thyroid stress. Let me introduce you to zucchini. Zucchini is one of the most joint-friendly, easy-to-digest vegetables out there. It's low in oxalates, gentle on the thyroid, and doesn't carry the inflammatory baggage that kale sometimes does when it's raw. It's rich in water and potassium, which help reduce bloating and ease stiffness. It's also naturally anti-inflammatory, making it great for folks with arthritis, bursitis, or simply stiff legs and arms in the morning. And zucchini is so versatile. You can slice it into rounds and sauté it with olive oil and garlic. You can spiralize it into zoodles for a low-carb pasta alternative. You can grate it into muffins, soups, or casseroles for moisture and nutrition. It cooks quickly, tastes mild, and your joints will absolutely love it. Now, I want to pause here and say something really important. If you've been eating tomatoes, eggplant, or raw kale for years, don't beat yourself up. This isn't about guilt. It's not about saying you did something wrong. It's about learning. It's about listening to your body. And most of all, it's about giving yourself permission to do better now that you know better. Our bodies are incredible. They're always trying to heal, to repair, to bounce back. But they need the right materials, the right support, the right fuel. If you've been dealing with swollen joints, low energy, brain fog, or weird stiffness that just doesn't seem to go away, it could very well be connected to what's on your plate. And if you've already started swapping in beets for tomatoes, Swiss chard for eggplant, and zucchini for raw kale, I want you to know you're on the right track. It might not be instant, but in a few weeks you might notice. Your hands feel looser when you open a jar. Your knees don't complain quite as much when you climb the stairs. Your belly feels flatter in the morning. You wake up more clear-headed, more mobile, more like you. And that's everything. Because at the end of the day, what we all want, what we deserve, is to feel good in our own bodies. We don't want to be limited by stiffness or fatigue. We want to play with our grandkids, garden, travel, dance, hug without wincing, sleep without tossing, wake up without dread. And every time you make a choice that supports your joints, your energy, and your healing, you're saying yes to that life. If any of this resonates with you, if you've been feeling unsure about your vegetables, or if this makes you want to go peek into your fridge right now, drop a heart in the comments. Let's support each other in this. Let's create a space where it's normal to learn, to adapt, and to grow. Because the truth is, we're not done yet. Not even close. We've talked about 3 vegetables to avoid: tomatoes, eggplant, and raw kale. And we've introduced their kinder, gentler, more energizing alternatives: beets, Swiss chard, and zucchini. But what happens next? How do we actually put this all into practice? How do we build meals that feel good body and soul and keep our joints smiling at the end of the day? By now, you're probably starting to connect some dots. You've taken in a lot of information, and maybe your fridge is already looking a little different in your mind. Maybe you're already thinking about that beet salad you passed up last week, or how good a warm bowl of sautéed Swiss chard might feel on a cool evening. And maybe, just maybe, you're realizing that the stiffness, the swelling, the sluggish energy you've been chalking up to just getting older might not be your age at all. It might be your vegetables. But here's the thing, this isn't about fear. It's about freedom. Freedom from discomfort. Freedom to move without aching. Freedom to live the way you want to live without having to power through another day of joint pain or brain fog. Now, you might be wondering, how do I take what I've learned and turn it into actual meals? How do I build a plate that helps my joints instead of hurting them? Let's make this simple. When you're planning a meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, ask yourself 2 things. How will this make me feel an hour from now? And what can I add to help my body heal? That's it. Not, is this trendy? Or, is this what I'm supposed to eat? But instead, is this food going to support my energy? Will it leave my joints feeling light or heavy? So instead of tossing raw kale into your morning smoothie, try blending in a handful of steamed zucchini, frozen berries, and chia seeds. It'll still be creamy, still green, but way gentler on your joints and thyroid. Instead of building a salad with tomatoes and eggplant, try one with roasted beets, avocado, a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds, and a side of grilled salmon. Your joints will soak that up like a sponge. And for dinner? Instead of that tired old casserole packed with nightshades, what if you roasted some zucchini, carrots, and bok choy in olive oil and garlic? Serve it alongside a baked sweet potato or a small portion of lean protein, and suddenly, you've got a meal that feels like comfort and medicine in one bite. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to do this perfectly. Maybe you still have a little tomato in your pasta sauce now and then. Maybe you still enjoy kale but you cook it first. That's okay. You're not aiming for perfection. You're aiming for progress. For relief. For the kind of health that shows up in the way you move, breathe, and feel. Because at the end of the day, your body wants to heal. It's not fighting you. It's talking to you. Those aches in the morning, the tightness in your hips, the fatigue after lunch, that's your body saying, help me out here. Give me what I need to support you better. And when you start feeding it what it really wants, foods that reduce inflammation, ease stress on the joints, and gently support your energy, you'll be amazed how fast things can shift. I remember a man named Bill, 76, retired mechanic, always skeptical about food being the problem. His daughter convinced him to try changing up his vegetables for just 1 month. He swapped raw kale for cooked spinach, eggplant for sweet potatoes, and tomatoes for roasted carrots and beets. And do you know what happened? He came back to his doctor with lower inflammation markers. But more importantly, he felt it. He said, "I haven't needed my cane for 2 weeks. I'm not saying I'm 30 again, but I'll take it." That's what we're talking about. Not chasing youth, but reclaiming comfort, clarity, peace in your body. And it's not just your joints that benefit. When you eat the right vegetables, ones that nourish instead of inflame, your energy comes back. You sleep deeper. You feel lighter. Your digestion improves. Your mind sharpens. You go from just getting through the day to enjoying it. Now, if you're watching this and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, take a deep breath. You don't have to change everything overnight. Maybe today you just add a few slices of roasted beet to your lunch. Maybe tonight you steam some zucchini instead of frying eggplant. Maybe tomorrow morning you skip the raw kale and sauté a handful of chard in olive oil and garlic. That's how it starts. And that's enough. One change. One choice. One joint at a time. And if you're wondering whether it's too late, let me be the one to tell you, it's not. Your body hasn't given up on you. Not at all. Every cell, every bone, every ligament, it's all still working, still waiting, still ready to bounce back when you give it the right tools. You're not stuck. You're not broken. You're learning. You're adapting. You're stepping into a healthier, more energized version of yourself. And that deserves to be celebrated. So here's what I want you to do. If anything in this video spoke to you, drop a comment below. Maybe it's just a "me too" if you've been dealing with joint pain. Maybe it's a heart if you're ready to make one small change today. Or maybe you want to share your story, what worked for you, what didn't, or even what vegetables you're ready to say goodbye to. Because this community is about support, about sharing, about healing together. And if you found this video helpful, give it a like. It really helps more seniors discover these kinds of life-changing tips. And if you want more guidance, more real talk about what to eat, what to avoid, and how to feel your best, don't forget to subscribe. In my next video, I'm going to share a huge mistake that many people make every morning. What do you think it is? Comment your guess and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. But before you go, remember this. Food isn't just fuel. It's information. It's medicine. It's care. And when you choose the right foods that support your joints, lighten your steps, and give you back your spark, you're not just eating. You're healing. So tag a loved one who needs this. Share it with your walking buddy, your sister, your neighbor. Let's start a ripple effect of healing, one bite, one plate, one joyful movement at a time. You've got this. And we're doing it together.